The President of Albania, Ilir Meta, has declared that Albania is a role model for the world in regards to religious harmony during a speech at the second plenary session of the International Parliament for Tolerance and Peace. Minister for Infrastructure and Energy, Damian Gjiknuri, declared today during a maritime development activity that the Albanian government will soon open the tender process for companies interested in exploring oil reserves at sea. During a meeting with the representatives of the Veterinary Service, Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Niko Paleshi, spoke about the reform for this sector, which will provide at least one vet to each administrative unit. Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on Friday, the 16th of November 2018. Welcome to the English edition of Aura News. My name is Alexandra and I'm here to bring you the day's top stories from across the country translated into English. Albania continues to support the dialogue between Kosovo and Serbia. President Ilir Meta stated that Albania could be taken as a unique model in the world for religious tolerance. According to the head of state, the Western Balkans has a common challenge, and this is integration into the European Union, thus ending the wounds and insults of the past. Albania has an indispensable historical merit in preserving, cultivating and promoting the most sublime values of tolerance and peace. We are a model and unique country in the world, in particular for tolerance, harmony and religious coexistence. It is difficult to find a place in the world where members of the same family may belong to different religions. We are a country where the mosque and the church are located side by side in the same street, and where Muslim and Christian neighbours congratulate and celebrate Eid Mubarak and Christmas together. Historically, even though Albania has suffered from unjust wars, ruthless conquests and regimes, it has always found the strength to cultivate, embrace and demonstrate tolerance. In the Balkans of the First World War and bloody conflicts of the 1990s, Albania and Albanians offered a rare contribution to the peace, stability and prosperity of the entire region. The common challenge of the Western Balkans is that of full integration into the European Union, which dictates to all of us that with the experiences of the past, we look to the future in order to avoid repetition of the consequences of the past. We know better than anyone that peace is more difficult to gain and maintain than war. We hope and work hard for the Balkans to progress towards a new era, a European perspective without conflicts and without open issues. Albania is an untiring contributor to peace, cooperation and our good neighbourly policy in our region. Albania plays its constructive role in promoting normalisation of relations between Kosovo and Serbia. We believe that achieving a lasting agreement which requires the closure of all old wounds would not only guarantee a European perspective for Serbia and Kosovo, but would also serve to strengthen the whole European perspective of our region. On the other side, we encourage positive developments that will lead to the implementation of the name agreement between Greece and Macedonia. The finalisation with success of these two agreements is a very strong guarantee for the peace and stability of our region, but also for Europe itself. The future in peace, tolerance and cooperation in our region lies in the teaching that all our nations in this region, in each state, are somewhere in the majority and minority. And the only way for a sustainable and lasting coexistence is to use the same standards of respect for minorities from all of us, declared Ilir Meta. The dry weather throughout the autumn has significantly reduced electricity production. This has forced Oshi to import over 7 million euros worth of electricity to meet the country's needs for the period November 16 to 30. The average price at which energy has been purchased for November is about 92.25 euro per megawatt. It has been learned that there were difficulties in realising the purchase of energy as several stages of negotiations have been developed, and the supply was provided by 6 different companies. To meet the needs at this time, at the hydro reserves in the Drin Cascade were at a minimum. Oshi bought about 9 million euro of electricity in October, bringing the value to 16 million euros in just 2 months. From the Albanian Electro Energy Corporation data, a significant reduction of the energy reserve is reported in relation to the previous months. Albania is directly dependent on hydropower production, becoming a burden on the state budget, which is forced to finance energy purchases in critical times. However, forecasts for the coming days remain optimistic as rainfall is expected across the territory. International companies have expressed interest in oil exploration at sea. Minister Damian Gjiknuri gave a speech during the activity for the development of the maritime sector, and that the tender process will be opened for this, which is also developing across the region. Soon, Albania will open the tender process for oil exploration. There is interest from major international marine exploration companies, said Gjiknuri. Gjiknuri stated that the government also pays attention to the development of port infrastructure, which will be implemented mainly through public-private partnerships. There is also interest in private harbour construction. The Albanian government encourages them because the port infrastructure is expensive and the state budget simply cannot afford it, added Gjiknuri. Gjiknuri stated that the government also pays attention to the development of port infrastructure, which will mainly be implemented through public-private partnerships. To support the development of the maritime sector, Norway supported Albania with a fund of €1.4 million, which foresees the opening of special study programs for the maritime transport at the universities of Vlora and Durrës. The work on the construction of the Outer Ring Road project continues in Peshkopi. The investment has been welcomed by residents who say they are escaping from the clay and dust that covers peripheral areas. As it stands, 2.2 kilometres of road has been asphalted. Along with it, there are sidewalks and lights that were previously missing in the outskirts of Peshkopia. The Ring Road offers great traffic convenience, facilitating traffic in the city and making the area very attractive, said Muharrem Rama, the mayor of Dibra. Dibra's mayor added that the new ring will give a breath of fresh air to the city by deviating heavy vehicles outside the centre. The project, worth €2 million, is funded by the Albanian government and will see the construction of 3.5 kilometres of road, as well as a 20-metre long bridge. From the 30th of November this year to January next year, farmers are able to apply for grants from the government and the European community through the IPAD 2 programme. At the informative meeting for the farmers of the Fier district, Deputy Agriculture Minister Ilir Halilaj and the head of the Agency for Agricultural and Rural Development, Frida Krivca, explained the scheme and the technical criteria for their profitability. The Fier region has benefited from 1/3 of the national scheme amount for 2018, pointing to the importance of this region for agricultural and rural development. As one of the regions with the highest agricultural weight, the main standards that a farmer has to meet are food safety, plant protection and waste management. The funding caps for field farmers reaches 50%, while for those in hilly areas it is up to 70%. The Deputy Minister of Agriculture stated that he is grateful that the grant scheme will help the farmers not only to increase the agricultural and agro-processing products, thus increasing their profitability, but will also increase employment opportunities. IPAD 2 comes with increased funding in financial value and can be provided to a wide range of applicants and beneficiaries. Since the implementation of IPAD, about 300 women benefited from a value of approximately €23.8 million, while the IPAD 2 programme offers €94 million. Based on previous experiences and having the right structures to ensure maximum absorption, Deputy Minister Halilaj is convinced that this scheme will deliver maximum results. The applications can be made at around 50 locations across the country, including service points of the agricultural development agencies and in all development agencies that depend on the Ministry of Agriculture. Farmers can submit all the necessary information according to the criteria for the process. The Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Niko Peleshi, spoke about the reforms during a meeting with representatives of the Veterinary Service and the Veterinary Order, which will provide at least one veterinarian in each administrative unit. Meanwhile, newly established veterinary services will undergo a simplification of structures. The function of the vets and services to be provided will be clear and defined. We will increase the number of veterinarians available. We intend to reach over 500 veterinarians from the 166 we have today. We will accomplish having at least one vet in every administrative unit, informed Niko Peleshi. Niko Peleshi stressed that the intention is to provide vet care free of charge to farmers, with the work of veterinarians paid for by the Veterinary Service Agency. The vet reform, which is part of the new vet law, will be soon adopted by Parliament. The law also states that the National Food Authority will expand its competencies and responsibilities. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join me again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.